Do Americans really need AR-15s? Who needs an AR-15 to go hunting, leftists will say? That's a dumb question. There's many things that we don't need that we still have a right to own. We still have a right to do, right? So it doesn't matter if you need it. You don't have a constitutional right to deprive someone, or you don't have a right to deprive someone of their constitutional right just because you think they don't need it. Okay? So if you truly think that the Second Amendment should be overturned, then that's what you need to do. You need to introduce a constitutional amendment to overturn the Second Amendment. You can't legislate it away because it's enshrined in the highest law in our land, our Constitution. And by the way, AR-15s are easier to shoot than shotguns, for example, for someone like me who has a small frame. Also, if we're talking about the danger of AR-15s, as the left always does, they like to paint AR-15s as being used solely by mass shooters, school shooters, for the purpose of mass destruction. Here's some statistics. 99.99% of AR-15s in circulation in our country right now are not used for crime. 99.99% not used for crime. So what the left does is they make an emotional argument rather than a factual argument. So we heard Judge Benitez talk about the statistics from 2019, which is the latest FBI statistics that are available, by the way. He talked about 2018. This statistical train doesn't stop. It's not exclusive to just the last 2 years. You can go back to 2017 when there were 407 murders committed in the United States with rifles. Okay, it was still less than knives, blunt objects, fists, handguns, shotguns, yada, yada, yada. Okay, in 2017, and I'm going back because I want to use a different year than the judge uses because he's being accused of cherry picking data. He's being accused of using statistics from the FBI that aren't accurate. They don't accurately represent that they're an isolated incident. No, they're not. In 2017, the FBI statistics on homicides said that there were 15,070 homicides in our nation. Okay? In 2016, let's look at that year too. In 2016, there were 11,004 gun homicides. And this is where we're going to break it down. In these 11,004 gun homicides in 2016, rifles were only used in 2.5% of total homicides. And again, AR-15s are a subcategory of rifles. So it's not like 2.5% of murders were committed with AR-15s. Shotguns were used in 1.7%. Handguns were used in 47%. Knives were used in 11.9%. Hands and feet were used in 4.4%. Obviously, the knives and hands and feet are a percentage of total homicides, whereas the shotguns and handguns and rifles are a total or a percentage of the total gun-related homicides, right? Okay, so clearly, AR-15s are not even close to the predominant weapon used in the commission of a murder. And that's the way it should be phrased, too, in the commission of a murder, because these weapons, they don't get up and walk out of your house on their own. They don't shoot people on their own. They're being operated by a psychopath and a criminal when they're used in the commission of a murder. So it's not the weapon that's doing the killing. It's the person that's doing the killing. So that's fact number one. Piece of reality number one, we'll call it. The second piece of reality here is this talking point from the left and from Newsom, who said that these AR-15s are weapons of war. They're used on the battlefield. This is just false. It actually just takes a cursory Google to find out the truth here. Or if you know someone who served in the military, they can tell you that too. Newsom just comes off as so out of touch with reality when he talks about this. So AR-15s were specifically designed for a civilian population, right? They are modeled after the M4, which is used on the battlefield. But the difference between the M4 and the AR-15 is that the M4 has the capacity to be fully automatic. The AR-15 does not. That's a really significant difference. Very significant difference. Now, the term assault weapon in and of itself is made up, but the way that the left uses it, they're not even using it accurately because they use it to describe fully automatic rifles, but the AR-15 is not. It's a semi-automatic rifle. So even by their own made-up definition, they're being inaccurate. Now, the other thing is, per Heller, which is a Supreme Court decision, individuals have a right to keep and bear arms of almost any sort as long as they're in the common use, right? That's why you can't necessarily own a tank or a bazooka because it's not in the common use. The AR-15 is in the common use. There are tens of millions of AR-15s and similarly structured semi-automatic rifles in the United States. It's the most popular rifle in the United States. So when Governor Newsom says that these are military weapons, calls them assault weapons, says that they're weapons of war, he's lying because he doesn't know what he's talking about. If you want to be philosophical about it, he is correct because all weapons are weapons of war in the sense that the citizen's right to keep and bear arms is to hold at bay a tyrannical government. So in that sense, all weapons are weapons of war. But in the sense that he's talking, he's being inaccurate.
Hi. Before you go, let me talk to you about something. As you know, I've been censored on Facebook and YouTube, so I partnered with locals to create a censorship-free community. I also just launched my show, and I have a lot of exciting new things coming up that I want to make sure I can share with you and get your input on. I'm going to be sharing behind-the-scenes looks of my set and my show prep, and I get a lot of questions about my hair and makeup routines, my research process, and so much more. So I'll give you sneak peeks of all of that. I'll also be doing exclusive segments of my show just for Locals VIPs. All of my interviews will be shared on Locals for VIPs to watch as well. I'll be taking questions directly from VIPs for the video mailbag in my show, and you'll get the episodes free from ads. Who doesn't love that? Not to mention, I'll keep doing everything that you've already come to love. Ask me questions for live Q&As. Let's talk about your favorite books, what yummy vegan food I'm eating for lunch, and what ridiculous headlines I'm reading today. You can do all of that and more, but only if you are a Liz Wheeler Show VIP on Locals. The monthly subscription is $9 a month, but if you really want a good deal, we have an annual subscription for just $72. That's 4 months free. 4 months. So join me on Locals as a VIP. I'll see you over there.